So Coach Brian Prana here, looking forward to talking to you today about no gym, no problem. We're going to go over how to do body weight exercise and just be active without having to actually step foot in the gym. So who am I? I've been in the fitness, nutrition, and just general lifestyle change field for the last about 20 years. Had an exercise degree from there. I've been a personal trainer for 15 plus years. I've owned gyms. I've had countless certifications. I've been doing remote nutrition and health coaching for the last 7 to 8. And I work with busy everyday people that are professionals that are juggling real life situations of trying to take care of themselves. I'd say about 60% of the people I work with deal with weight loss. The other 40% is a hodgepodge of performance gain. They've got chronic health issues. There's digestion issues. There's other, health concerns that show up. Weight gain. There's a lot of different pieces that I navigate with individuals. So I'm excited to bring you the fitness side today. It's my bread and butter since 2001, I was teaching group exercise classes. So excited to get going. Let's open up this and share the no gym, no problem slide deck. All right. Put myself to the side. I will be looking for engagement. And the chat or Q&A inbox will be open, so please share and engage throughout this process. The more you do, the better takeaways you're going to get, and the more fun it's going to be for both of us as we do this. No gym, no problem. Let's jump in. So what we're going to talk about, the agenda today, is about what exercise guidelines are for most Americans, all of them actually, set up for success. How do we actually use our surroundings to be more empowered and take action, to be active and actually get moving? All right, so exercise guidelines. What defines exercise in our modern day economy? The majority of, unfortunately, anyone I've talked to sits a lot. They're actually... I usually will ask people, are you sitting more than you stand, or are you standing more than you sit? It's a very general, easy way to assess how much movement you're actually doing in a day or even a week and across a month. That activity level will most certainly be a really good ability to understand what and how your body is able to say weight maintenance, how much energy you have, how productive you can be. Activity really creates a lot of movement. I always say movement is energy is a common phrase I'll use with clients to help get them in the mindset of thinking about how they can be more active and engaged in the process, and actually who doesn't feel better after they get done working out. It's very rare that someone says that it's been negative, and it's usually because they overdid it, they overstepped. We're not talking about that. What we are talking about is making sure that you're doing an appropriate amount of activity that corresponds with you and your fitness level as is. All right, so we have 3 options here. Number 1 is pretty easy. 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise and doing at least 2 days of full body exercise. I would call that muscle building activity some sort of a strength training protocol. Doing the 150 minutes worth of total activity could be walking at a brisk pace, going on a hike, riding a bike, doing exercise classes, working out with a trainer, going to a fitness class, doing workouts on your own, doing YouTube workouts. There's so many different ways to get you to move these days, and a lot of it's for free. You do not have to pay anything to stay in shape and stay fit and healthy. That's really important to know and understand. So the strength training aspect, we can, in our conversation today, we're going to focus on what can we do that's not gym related. Certainly you could get a membership and go through that, but how do we actually stay active without the exercise component? Option 2, 75 minutes of vigorous activity, a very challenging hike, running, bicycling at pace, doing an elliptical or doing something at home. Again, using YouTube, we can find a HIIT style class, a high intensity interval training session that can really help ramp up your heart rate and get you focused on burning a lot more calories. If we spare 75 minutes throughout the course of a week, that ends up being a pretty productive amount of time for general human fitness and for us Americans. And then we still would want to do some sort of muscle building activities that are going to focus on major muscle groups and activities to help you feel pretty good about this whole process. And the equivalent is, of course, we're going to mix and match between those. What most people would fall into of doing some higher intensity and a lot more moderate intensity. I generally walk a lot. I do what I call net time, no extra time. When I'm on phone calls with clients, I have clients all over the U.S., young, old, healthy, sick, chronically ill, know a lot about taking care of themselves or nutrition or don't. I'm walking around with them. And it gives me energy, it gives me clarity on what to think and how to process their situation to what are best solutions for them to manage in their everyday. So for you, we could probably definitely look at doing some blend of that most people do. In the chat box or Q&A, would love to see what's your primary method of doing that. The other thing I do, so I'll walk. I don't do a lot of cardio, but I will do basic strength training. I have a gym set up in the backyard. I have a barn. Consequently, I do a lot of workouts. I've been posting a lot on my YouTube channel at Coach Brian Pirana, but you'll see my barn there, and I've been in there working out, showing what I do to help inspire other people to take some action. I like doing it. I'm 40. I have 4 kids. I've been married to my high school sweetheart. My kids give me a run for my money, and I need to stay physically strong for them to make sure that I can keep up as they continue to age and we get into, further family development when they get into their next stages of life of, being grandparent or something. So my oldest is 14. My youngest is 8, 3 boys and a girl. And I'm hoping that, we got a good 15, 20 years there. We got someone in the chat. When I don't go to the gym, I make an effort to walk as often as I can, whether go around the neighborhood or taking the dog out. That's excellent. We have a dog. He's actually behind me lounging. He's a big Newfoundland. He's kind of a lazy guy, except when he gets out and he has his burst of energy. Now, we'll go walk with him. We will, I'll do walks with my wife and walk and talk. Oftentimes I say that's a really good way to get a lot of time spent with your significant others. They want to talk to you. So walk and talk and engage that way. It's a very easy way to stay interactive with your spouse and not in front of a screen. That's so important. We spend so much of our lives these days in front of a screen. I work from my phone. I'm constantly talking or texting people. I'm doing way too much. So getting out, and I actually leave my phone in the car to help get some distance and concentrate and focus on just that walking activity. So we'll talk about a smartwatch here. I've got a Amazfit, but a Fitbit, an Apple Watch, Samsung Health Watch, something where we're getting, I'm a big fan of 10K a day. It's a very whole number. It's very easy to think about and consider in your everyday. I'd love to see in the chat box, open up, and if you have a step tracker, say, hey, yeah, I got one. And what's your average steps per day across the course of a week? Would love to talk about that as well. So aerobic activity, let's define what that is. It increases cardiovascular fitness, which includes exercises that are rhythmic or continuous. Think of dancing or step classes or running or bicycling. They utilize large muscle groups. Okay, and we could even think of ball sports too, as we've got basketball or other type of activities there as seen in this. And roller skating. I've actually gone roller skating quite a bit in the last year. We did some roller skating in the Rocky Mountains in February, and then we did a 40th birthday roller skating party bonanza for my wife, and we had neon, and there was we had wigs too. Everyone had to wear a wig and neon, and it was this kind of throwback 80s roller skating party. We had a lot of fun. We had 80s music going on too. It was a blast. We were born in the 80s, obviously. So, all right, next up is muscle strengthening activity. So let's define what this is. Exercise that makes your muscles work against applied force or gravity. Squatting is an easy one as an example. Or as you see in this image here, we have a sit-up. That's a pretty advanced sit-up. If you've been training your abs, and you definitely could do one like that. If you haven't, I'd probably get you on the floor and do some crunches to get started to build up to it. Now, always remember, muscle strengthening is built around progression and overload. So progression and overload across time. Anytime that you go into the gym, you always want to have this underlying ideal of, can I work out tomorrow? Super important, super helpful to make sure that you don't overdo it today. When I start someone up with their health coaching, nutrition coaching and all, they want to get to it. They just want to get all their steps in and all this activity and do all the squats they haven't been doing for years. Sounds exciting, but also you can't walk. And the likeliness of getting injured 2, 3, 4 weeks from now ends up being a lot bigger, and we do not want to get hurt. Okay, so exercises can be body weight. There are weights, bands. You can get a band set for $25 on Amazon that will get you going in a hurry, and it can go with you to travel, or it could just be really convenient. You can do anything with a dumbbell with bands, or even barbell with bands, kettlebell, not necessarily with bands, but you don't necessarily need to do those things unless you have those skill sets. So bands can be a really cheap, efficient way to get activity anywhere, whether in your home or out in a park or something. Other exercise components, balance activities. Certainly we want to first think about yoga comes to mind when we think about balance. And it's really about improving your body's ability to resist forces that can cause you to fall. When it's all said and done, when you are in your 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, ideally, because you've had a very fruitful life and you've taken care of yourself, you resisting falling is one of the biggest ways to keep you alive longer. If you fall and break something, it exponentially challenges your vitality in a sense. So we want to make sure we have good balance, good muscle strength in your body. And that's why doing strength training would be really important in this process along the way, so you can stay healthy, you can stay fit, you can keep your body in order of what's most important to you. Flexibility activities, so things that help increase your joints' ability to go through full range of motion. So again, we have yoga, Pilates can do that. There's a lot of stretch labs if you've come across those. There are places where people literally stretch you. So that can be something that allows you to get out and get moving as well. So, and as we age, flexibility, mobility, balance are going to be super important to keeping you moving and having a fulfilled life as you go. So if you need to make modifications, it's very easy to do so. Number one, is changing the range of motion. Sometimes back in the day when I was in a gym, if someone was lacking a range of motion, I would encourage them to just literally do less. Say a push-up. Okay, well, we're going to do an incline push-up where we're, say, pushing our hands against a countertop as an example. That's a decreased range of motion and lessening the challenge of gravity, of course. We can change the weight or the rep set. Today in my workout, I did 15 and 12 and 10 and 8 and 6 different reps ranges in the 5 sets that I did. That allowed me to use different weights in different parts of my workout to challenge my muscles differently than the last time I did it. We can change speed. We can say race, sprint, run, jog, speed walk, mosey, shuffle. There's a lot of different intensities there and speeds of which you can go from really fast to really slow depending on your fitness and ability levels. The impact of the workout itself, how hard you're going, the intensity that's in there, we can change that quite a bit. Always working on less intensity and moving toward more as you get comfortable with it. Changing the surface, thinking of balance in and of itself. So I'm standing on 2 feet. If I change to 1, all of a sudden I change my surface. If I stood on a pillow, all of a sudden things have changed. Or if I'm standing on a Bosu ball or whatnot, we can change the degree of which. Go for a walk on a normal sidewalk. Go for a hike. Go climb a mountain. Right? The surface area is going to be radically different and the challenges on your body. So how do we make sure that you're set up for success in getting more exercise into your everyday? As we've been reiterating, progression over time. Start small. You can start with 2-3 different time frames of the day, walking 5 to 10 minutes. If that's what works. If someone comes to me in a more overweight situation with their body, I'm more apt and likely to encourage them to just move a little bit more. Say they do have their step tracker or a watch or something, and it says that it's 2,000 to 3,000 steps in a day. We could both agree that's not a lot, especially in comparison to 10K, which is where the long-term goal would want to be. In that situation, I may only encourage a person to take an extra 1,000 steps a day just to make sure that they are staying in their comfort zone, but pushing that threshold a little bit more. And if we were to add 1,000 steps every week and they started at 3,000, within under 2 months, their body is going to be able to definitely be capable of doing 10K steps in a day. If someone's lighter and more fit and in shape, maybe that walking turns into running or bike riding. Neil is a client. He has lost 45 pounds now in about 5-ish months now. His workout activity is through the roof now. He bikes with his buddy who's an avid cyclist, which it's something he definitely wouldn't have been able to even think about keeping up in the beginning. And now he's trying to hold on to that guy's wheel, meaning he was just trying to stay with him as much as he can. So you start exercise at the level that you're comfortable with. Choosing the right workouts. I get a number of them in the beginning of our conversation here, but here's some other ideas to just expand it. Online group classes. You can pay for them, say Peloton. There's a lot of other ways to do that. That's one of the more popular ones. We can do outdoor fitness classes. You could do, if you wanted to go to a gym, you could totally do that, but that's not the point of this conversation. You could do building your own workouts, whether you build it yourself or you had someone else build it for you, or you're just following a no gym equipment protocol. Think of the a circuit. That's what I was thinking about, a circuit. If we are going to do a body weight strength training protocol, a circuit is probably going to be up most people's avenue. And a circuit is simply put having 3, 4, 5 exercises strung together, generally about 30 to 60 seconds of effort with generally 30 seconds rest. Something like that could work out really well. Yesterday I did a leg circuit. I had 5 exercises. One was a deadlift with a barbell. I had a goblet squat. I was holding a kettlebell under my chin. I was doing a single leg exercise on my right leg, and then on my left I did lunges, step forward lunges, step back lunges. I did step ups. I did a variety of different activities across the 4 rounds that I did. And then I finished with the squat hold. So I held the kettlebell in my arms and just plopped the squat and held that for 45 seconds. So I'd do 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest. That would take 5 total minutes. Then I would rest for about 2 minutes so I could give a really good effort getting back into it. So 4 times 7-minute rounds would be equal, with the rest included, that would give you a 28-minute workout under 30, good to go. You could do a run or walk to warm up a little bit, or you could just take the first cycle through that a little bit easier to be able to do that. And those 5 exercises could be any leg exercise that you know or comfortable with doing. Those were the ones that I chose. Right, telling others about your workouts, social support. One way that I is my bread and butter is providing support and accountability to people. Oftentimes, we know what to do, but we aren't doing the things that we know we should be doing. And creating some support and accountability behind the words that come out of your mouth and the follow through that has to happen creates change in your life, generally for the positive, right? If you have positive goals for yourself, then they're going to translate into you being way more successful in, of course, your health. But if you're more successful in your health, then you have more energy and you can be more productive and you can better manage time and you can handle more responsibility, and other people notice that and they either compliment you and start giving you more work, which then can equal more responsibility to make a bigger paycheck, or other people at home see your ability to, when you come home and you don't just sink into the couch for an hour or two, that you can actually be productive and help in the daily tasks in the household, then there's more love and connection and togetherness. There's a lot of positive things that can start happening. So being accountable and finding support. Certainly gyms can do that, but you can have walking buddies. You can have a walking group at your work. So many different ways to instill some form of an exercise regimen into there where you can have support and accountability. Even if you met with your coworkers every day of the week and walked for 30 minutes, that can be a really strong support group that you could do there, and your not only connection is going to be big, but you'll actually be moving, and it'll be a good thing. One of the key phrases I love saying to people: what gets scheduled gets done. Adding things to your calendar, I live and die by my calendar. What gets put on there is what gets done, and that's incredibly important to help with time management. And ultimately, that's what most of this stuff boils down to, is clear, concise ability to manage your priorities in a timely manner that creates an efficiency around your life, and you don't have to spend so much time around: when am I going to work out today? What am I going to eat today? When am I going to sleep today? What am I wearing today? Those are a lot of questions and a lot of decisions that can wear you down. And decision fatigue, especially in our current time, is a very real thing. We don't want to show up with decision fatigue. It will wear you out, it will stress you out, and it will unmotivate you incredibly quickly. So having stuff on your calendar, incredibly important. And then you can see, as in this image, if you actually circled when you work out, then you can visually see when you did or didn't, and it creates a streak in a sense, and even more idea of wanting to do it. Say, my goal is to always get 3 workouts in a week. That's reasonable, that's manageable, and you can get a lot of your activity requirements for the week in those 3 sessions across 150 minutes or across the 75 minutes of hard with some other strength training in. So love to see in the chat. So what exercise modality is your favorite? What do you find most challenging when creating workouts? Very strong parts of my expertise. So pop something in the chat box, and I'd love to talk with you on that. All right. Oh, you can send it via private as well, or in the group. Oh, here comes one. Dog walking is clearly a favorite. Someone else just said that as well. Dog walking, or just people walking too, is clearly a thing. Here we go. We got another one. It loves to get on their Peloton. They do an early morning Peloton ride, and they actually have a group of people that they have grown to find that social connection with through the app and their morning Peloton ride. That's awesome. I had a client like that once too. It reminds me, she was in New York and she had a 5:30 morning group ride with her girlfriends, and if one of them didn't show up, they had the group text getting blown up about how they needed to show up and make up that workout. All right, what do you find the most challenging? So another one is commenting here, just actually creating the workout itself. They show up at the gym and they just don't know what to do. Okay, well, I go off the protocol of workout what you haven't done in a long time. So if I haven't, say, done, quote, a leg day in 3, 4, 5 days, that would be the first thing that I would start thinking about. If people are used to working out, they might have a push, a pull, and a leg day routine, which means push is a chest, shoulder, tricep, delt type exercise routine. A pull is a back and a bicep type routine. And legs are legs. And you can rotate through those 3 things. Like, oh, what if I can't do it in a week? Well, we can expand this into a 10-day time frame as well. It just doesn't have to be Monday through Sunday, as an example. That's just our calendar, but it can be in any given appropriated amount of time that makes sense. Maybe you really love getting to the gym and doing 2 strength training sessions across 10 days is your number. That would be, so if we had chest, back, shoulders, and legs, that'd be 4 rotations. You'd want to do both of those. That'd be basically across 10 or 12 days, we'll say even 2 weeks. You're doing maybe 1 to possibly 2 days in a, quote, 7-day time frame where you're not actually strength training, but then you're just going to keep moving through that cycle. All right, we have some other ones. I love group fitness classes, but they don't always fit in my schedule. As a full-time working woman and mom of 3, I have 4. I totally understand. There's most certainly times in my day that if I don't get a workout in before this specific time, it's not happening. Not at all. So that's something that you have to consider. One of them is only 1. So working out early in the morning is a no-go. So that would have been the first thing, is like when in the day can you actually find time and schedule? If waking up early isn't your jam, I'm not much of a morning worker outer. I'd much rather work out between 9 and 3 o'clock. Those are my prime times where I spend a lot of time working out because it fits on my schedule. I work remotely, I work around other people's schedules, and I schedule my own work all the time, and I'll schedule with my buddy routinely. Another one is, most challenging is having no idea where to start. Well, the most important thing is you mentioned that you love doing group classes. So I would encourage you to find a group class type program on YouTube that you can schedule in. And maybe those 2 workout days are only on Saturday and Sunday because those are the times that you have more bandwidth. Your job, too, as a mom would be figuring out how do I, in the busy week, include my kids in activities, going on walks. I have 4 kids, so they kind of grumble when I say, we're going for a walk, but then they actually start getting out there. We kind of force them to go, like, we're going. If you want to do anything else with your night, you got to go to the park with us and walk the dog. Because we have a dog, and that's part of being a dog owner responsibility is walking them. So we'll leverage the dog to get them out there. Then they have a ton of fun. So my wife and I will walk the dog, and they're running around on their scooters. They're playing. We have this game called Scooter Tag, and you aren't allowed to go backwards. You can only go forwards if you're it. It's silly, and we play this, and occasionally people get overly assertive in trying to tag people, but there's some ideas there. Finding something that you love is going to be the first and foremost, or what's the most easiest thing for you to do is going to be the second thing. So if you put in the chat, I'd be more than happy to continue to expand on how do we fit these things in. Honestly, you're just going to have to be more time aware with your busy schedule. Oftentimes, my kids I have 2 in soccer. I have 1 doing 2 dance classes. I have 1 in fencing. I have 1 doing after school orchestra right now in the Youth Philharmonic. We have after school play practices we've dealt with. We've had steel drum practices. There's one's doing student council. The list goes on. So there's always things. But when they're in those activity level events, I will walk or I'll move. 1 swimming too. That's happening. So 6 to 7:30 tonight, 1 swimming. And so I'll have to manage that. But I can go walk while they're at their event. That could be a really easy way to go about it and managing that a little bit better. So thanks for your inputs. Let's continue. Use your surroundings. What's around you? What's available? Anywhere can be a gym. You don't need equipment to make a good workout routine, although, even again, reiterating a band set could make it really easy and enjoyable to get more activity in. Again, kind of reversing back to the question of where do I start, you're going to start with 20 minutes. That's an easy, committable way for you to manage it as best you can. Everyday items can make for replacement gym equipment as well. Here's some ideas on this slide. So if we're doing cardio type exercises, we need a mat, we need our shoes, sneakers, we can be outside, we can use the stairs. When people travel, go up and down the stairs around the actual hotel, up and down. That would be a really good workout. Or if someone's living in if they're living inside an apartment building, take the elevator down to the first floor and walk up as many flights of stairs as you can. That's pretty productive workout. Strength training, kettlebells, free weights, sliders. Think of furniture mover pads. They're usually in circles. You can even use paper plates to do that. If you put a paper plate on a slick surface, say carpet, you can get sliding action happen that really intensifies some of the exercises. Your body, chairs, benches can be really good things to do push-ups, dips, step-ups on, different activities. If we're stretching, a yoga mat, a yoga block, yoga straps can help you get into better positioning. Even a belt, you can just grab your belt to help in place of a strap to help get you into those positions a little bit deeper and a little bit more. Now, instead of dumbbells, we can use cans as weights or jugs. Instead of sliders, I already said, we can use plates or even towels. If you use a dish rag on a laminate surface, you're going to get that experience of sliding and intensity. Replacing kettlebell with a milk jug or a heavier bag of rice or something, that could work pretty well. We've got the mat, could just use a towel. A block could use just books. You can get very resourceful if you're just trying. Okay, you always have to try. Exercising at home, we've got, of course, chair dips, medicine ball push-ups. You can do it with a basketball, a soccer ball, a medicine ball, anything that's circular. Lateral lunges with a paper towel, or a paper plate, or a towel, and your foot can slide back and forth. I'm a big fan of step back lunges when we do those. It loads the hip and keeps a lot of pressure off the knees. So if you're going to say, oh, lunges hurt my knees, well, let's try step back lunges and then modify that range of motion and get a good stretch in so your body functions through the range of motion and it has proper mobility to get in and out of those positions. Upper body with cans, jugs of water as a goblet squat replacement. Certainly outdoors, we have walking and running on the path. We have fartleks and hills. Fartleks are sprints. You'll run for a certain amount of time, then you'll take a break. You'll run, and then you'll take a break. You can even do something as, I'm going to run to this mailbox, this light post, and then I'm going to walk or jog, and then I'm going to run to the next end of that block at the stop sign, and then I'm going to jog. And you can use landmarks to help with activity as well. Same thing on the bike. With strength training outdoors, of course, there's in my neck of the woods, I'm in the Cleveland area of Ohio, Northeast Ohio, Akron, and we have these metro parks that have parkours. What that is an exercise lap where they have all these different equipment and whatnot outside, so you could actually go and get a workout on this. I've done many boot camp classes in that setting. It's just really easy to, all right, we're going to run around the trail. Each stop, we're going to do 20 or 30 reps, and we're going to move on. And then it ends up being a really easy, enjoyable way to get outside and enjoy the outdoors. Playgrounds, monkey bars, to just climb on or to do hanging or pull-ups, of course. Then we can do abs on swings. We can do abs on the ground, on benches and whatnot. Very easy. We can do push-ups on benches. Now, here's a simple structure to building your workout. So, yes, I don't know where to get started. Well, we're going to start with this protocol for the majority of your workouts. Number one is we're going to warm up. Obviously, you want to prepare your body for the work you're about to do. If you're doing, say, chest work, then you want to loosen up your shoulders and your chest and your triceps and your elbows. If you're doing legs, you'd want to do some squats. You'd want to move around in a way that allows you to actually get to it. Now, we've got cardio or strength training comes next. When I worked and owned CrossFit gyms, the basic protocol that we had was dynamic warm-up, strength training, so you can really focus on getting strong in the beginning of the workout. That's logically when you have the most energy, is at the beginning. So we do that, we strength train, then we do cardio and get the heart rate up. It could be a circuit, it could just be straight cardio. There's a lot of different ways, like kettlebell routine. There's a lot of ways to get your heart rate up. Body weight, cardio, go do some burpees. Do 50 burpees in a row. That will end your workout pretty well. And then we have a cool down. We always want to bring the heart rate down, the body down, and allow the blood to circulate and move through any waste product that may be showing up, such as lactic acid. We don't want a lot of that stuff tightening and stiffening you. Doing proper stretching and foam rolling are really, really good ways to end the workout very productively. So how do we warm up properly? We're going to do 5 to 10 minute warm up. It's going to get the body warmed up and hot, and the muscles and ligaments and joints are going to be prepared for the work ahead. The mind is getting prepared. So you're going through the workout, buying into the effort that's getting ready to happen. That's super important to connect that. And we can use other things like music or other people to help encourage a really good warm-up and that building in anticipation and excitement around the workout that you're going to do. We have dynamic stretching. We're lengthening the fascia, which is the connective tissue around your body and muscles and ligaments. Think of it like the second skin. The fascia is underneath your skin, and it can get bound up, and it's a connective tissue. You want your fascia to be cooperative with you because it will cause muscle knots and adhere, like scar tissue can adhere to aches and different structures inside your body. The dynamic stretching, think about when you yawn. You go, yawn, and you reach your arm, you stretch, and then you come back and you're like, wow, I feel a little bit more loosened up. That's the easiest way to think about what dynamic stretching can look like and be like for you. It's going to increase your core temperature and get the muscles and the ligaments, tendons ready to go. If you've ever worked out without proper warm-up, you can get some aches and pains. You could actually obviously get hurt. We don't want that. If you take care of your body, it will take care of you, and you will not have injuries in it. I've been working out for decades. I will occasionally have tweaks and stuff, but I don't have a lot of body issues, especially related to exercise itself. We've got mobility work. Develops and increases mobility in the body while upping the heart rate. Think of a very active yoga class where you're going down and up and in and out of postures. Vinyasa flow would be a good name for it. You're moving your body through all this different range of motion, and it gets the heart rate up and the blood flowing. It works out really well to get a good warm-up. All right, next up we've got is the FIT principle. What makes up the FIT principle? Frequency, intensity, time, and type. So let's go and talk about what these are. So frequency. How often are you actually working out in the week? How many sets, reps, and repetitions will you be doing in the workout? That can be the frequency. The intensity is how hard are you going to go to what? We can monitor a lot. We can monitor a lot around intensity quite a bit and make sure that your heart rate's getting into the right zone that we need it to. We've got time. We can have shorter duration, longer duration. We can have long intervals, shorter intervals. You can go for a 2-hour hike, a 2-hour bike ride. You'll get a lot of activity and steps, I promise. And of course, we have type. What type of exercise you can do. I'd love to see in the chat, what are your favorite types of activity in exercise or activity? So we've got strength training, of course, or group classes. There's biking and running and those type of cardio type stuff. You have boot camps. There's so many different ways to move your body. Whether you're doing dumbbells, bands, body weight, barbells, kettlebells, clubs, medicine balls, the sandbags. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. Cool down techniques. If you stop your workout too quickly, you could feel sick or pass out. Walk for 5 minutes or until your heart rate gets below 120 beats per minute. Static stretching. We want to hold each stretch for 20 to 30 seconds and do not bounce. So you're taking a deep breath in, and then you exhale and you reach toward that joint to stretch, or the body part to stretch the specific muscles, joints, and ligaments and tendons to open it up. Getting your heart rate down will allow the blood to cycle through and not allow you to, say, blood pool. And of course, as I mentioned, breathing. Breathing is so powerful, people underestimate it and they don't use breath appropriately. We want to breathe into our bellies as much as we can, not into our chests. Here's an indoor workout example. You can take a picture or screenshot here. A warm up. We can do 30 seconds high knee marches. We can do 30 seconds of lunges. We can do 30 seconds of an inchworm. That's where if you're, say, touch your toes in a standing position, put your hands on the ground, touch your toes there. You're going to walk out into a push-up position and then walk your feet to your hands. That's an inchworm. Side arm circles, certainly here. So we did each of those for 30 seconds each. That's a 2-minute effort. We take a minute break to stretch, and you do that 3 times. That's a really valid 10-minute warm-up that you got some good stretching, heart rates up, body's ready to go. We do goblet squats for our strength portion. Goblet squats could be definitely a 4 sets of 10. I love doing like 4, 5, 6 sets of 10 of exercises. Lateral lunges, so side to side lunges. And then we can do an upper body series of push-ups, dips, shoulder presses. If you needed some extra weight, cans, jugs, or bands could help. Our cardio, we go back to that circuit idea. 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. So we do 40 seconds of jumping jacks, rest. Mountain climbers, rest. Step ups, rest. So if that was one cycle, that's 3 minutes. Again, if we do 3, 4, 5 cycles, you're going to get that 10 to 15 plus minute range that ends up being really productive for you in this whole workout as a whole. Low intensity cardio. So we just walk or do light cardio. And then ultimately you're looking to stretch on the back end there. So right now there's a really easy workout. If you don't know what some of these are, we just Google and YouTube and you can watch on proper form. Ultimately, if you don't know how to do any exercise, it's just a skill set situation. You're unaware of what you're supposed to do and where the body needs to be in proper position. All things that are learnable, whether you went to the gym and got personal trainer to show you the form, you had a good workout buddy to show you the form, or you just watch a lot of videos on YouTube and you practiced. There's so many tutorials on how to squat properly. It's insane. You'll get lost in YouTube just on that alone. I use YouTube a lot to teach me how to do things. Even exercises. Someone said they did a volley press. I'm like, what's a volley press? Well, you have a kettlebell holding it by the hands and you're going to hold it under your chin at your chest standing and you're going to straighten the arms out and then you're going to bring the kettlebell back. So you straighten it out and back. I'm like, oh, okay, I know how to do that. Now here's an outdoor workout sample. Walk for 6 minutes, jogging, do a dynamic exercise series. It could be a yoga, vinyasa flow. It could be a YouTube stretch routine. It could be Pilates. It could be you're doing a series of squats, push-ups, and sit-ups. All those things can work. We want to then do elevated split squat. So that means that you're going to put one foot up on a bench and do lunges. There's elevated push-ups. There's tricep dips. We do that. We could do sets of 10 or 15 or until fatigue, or even minutes. We can do time-based ones. We can do a minute of each of those for that duration and rest. No time between each of them, or 30 seconds between each of them as well. Lots of ways to think about it. You could do a finish with a fartlek run or an interval run where you're going to run 30 seconds hard, jog 30 seconds. That works really well to wrap it up. And then you finish with some walking and more stretching and foam roll. All right, so let's move. You're with me here. So lunges, I will do them. You're not necessarily going to see me per se. Let's see if I can get this a little bit going here. I think that might work if I stand back far enough. It's going to work a little bit. So when we go into lunges, we want, just like the position here shows, we're going to have, there we go. We're going to have the front knee over the heel. And what that's going to do is allow you to be positionally correct. We're going to go up and down there. We can do lunge jumps here. We can do up and down pulses. We could do alternating step back lunges or forward lunges in this position. So here's some band. So if you had a band, we can take the band around your ankles and you're going to squeeze your abs tight and you're going to move your body positionally as you go. Okay, so you're going to take the leg to the front of the body, to the side of the body, to the back. That's going to work on your glutes, your hips, your inner outer thigh area to stabilize you there as well. And for these, you do 3, 4, 5 sets of them for 10, 15, 20 reps, depending on strength and ability. We have a step up with some arm curls. So you would step up onto a box or an aerobic step and you would curl. You could even turn into a curl and a press over your head. This would be a really easy way to get some more, a lot more muscle into the workout, and heart rate's up and breathing and everything goes up quite a bit. We've got push-ups, of course. Ideally, we can go chest to the ground and full push up, chest to the ground. If we need to, we certainly can do modified on the knees. I'm not really a big fan of modified knee push-ups. I'd be more encouraged by you doing regular positional push-ups off of something on an incline, a side of a couch, a countertop. That would work out really well to help build some strength and activity there. Crunches, of course, lay on the ground. In general, when we do crunches, you can do all sorts of different abs. I've done all sorts of different core training in my years. Again, back in 2001, this is what was my bread and butter to get started, was teaching ab class. Phenomenal abdominal Mondays 5 to 5:30 at the local YMCA. That's where it all started here, people. So with crunches, though, the very easiest beginner first start. Hands support your neck and your head. You're not pulling on your head. You crunch and squeeze in your abs alone, trying to pull the belly button inward. Your knees are at anywhere from a 45 to more of a 90-degree bend, and you just crunch up, squeeze, hold, and back down. Crunch up, squeeze, and hold. Really controlled movement there. We've got some side bridge leg raises. This reminds me of a group class, a leg, buns and ab class, a Pilates type thing. You would be working on your hips, your core here quite a bit, even upper body, because you're bracing yourself. So in your side bend position, doing legs up and down, that's a burner for sure. All right. I've had 3 C-sections, and core exercises have been extremely difficult. So we have a quick engagement here. Well, I feel your pain there. My wife has had 4. Fortunately, my big head has caused that. So with C-section is, one, we need to do small range of motion. You need to do a little bit at a time. Doing more holding type activities, say plank holds and such, like the one that we see illustrated here, maybe not lifting your leg up in the air, but just holding on your side or even holding off of your knee. I would do a lot of planking type, positional type work, glute bridges, side planks, regular planks on your knees or your toes, push-up plank holds where you're on your hands, and start working up time, sets, and reps. And you can do those wherever, whenever, and make it a part. But, first you're going to start with 5 minutes at most and just build and slowly build and slowly build. And at some point, you can develop more strength and muscle tone in your waist and feel like you actually have something going on in your stomach a bit more than what you currently feel. And I've had a lot of women that we've done workouts or training with, and a lot of it just goes into staying consistent and consistently doing strength training, small amounts. So thank you for that. And wrapping it up, let's chat as we close out this hour. How can you incorporate one or more of these exercises into your daily life? So I'd love to hear. Post something in the chat. One person says that they're going to be a lot more mindful of inviting their spouse to go walk with them, and especially after work. That's great decompression time to go be outside, breathe, get energy, and then you'll have a much better, easier evening. Someone else says they're going to start going to use YouTube. There's a lot of incredible amount of free classes that are on there that will keep you busy for the rest of your life, because people are constantly putting new content on there all the time. I'm putting content on most days of the week. I'm actually putting something on there as well. So there is so many different ways to exercise there. One person is going to recommit to 10K steps. That's awesome. I would definitely tell you that that's the way to go. So the conclusion of all this is a gym is not necessarily you have to get your only place you can get a good workout in. Having all sorts of different aerobic, muscular strengthening activities, or muscle building activities, I like to call it. Those are things you want to find. I like variety. I'm always going to do a lot more rather than a lot less. Utilizing online and outdoor classes, items in your home, outdoor equipment like Barcours type things you can use to improve your fitness and maintain a healthy body. So I want to thank you for your time today, hanging out with me today in this hour. Get you out right at 2 o'clock. That's excellent. And I want to thank you. If you have questions, please comment below. Ask anything. I'll be able to engage with you, and I'm more than happy to. This is obviously, again, what I've done all my life, and looking to help people improve their health, their fitness.